Chapter 2. In the second year of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream, and his spirit was amazed, and his sleep departed from him. And the king gave orders to call the enchanters, and magicians, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, to declare the king his dreams. And they came and stood before the king, and the king said unto them, I have dreamed, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. And the Chaldeans spoke to the king in the Syrian language, saying, O king, live forever. Do tell the dream to thy servants, and we will declare the interpretation. And the king answered the Chaldeans, The thing is departed from me. If ye do not make known to me the dream and the interpretation, ye shall be destroyed, and your houses shall be spoiled. But if ye make known to me the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and presents and much honor. Only tell me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered a second time and said, Let the king tell the dream to his servants, and we will declare the interpretation. And the king answered and said, I verily know that ye are trying to gain time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. If ye do not tell me the dream, I know that ye have concerted to utter before me a false and corrupt tale, until the time shall have passed. Tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye will also declare to me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is no man upon the earth who shall be able to make known the king's matter. For as so much as no great king or ruler asks such a question of an enchanter, magician, or Chaldean. For the question which the king asks is difficult, and there is no one else who shall answer it before the king, but the gods, whose dwelling is not with any flesh. Then the king, in rage and anger, commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the decree went forth, and they began to slay the wise men, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to slay them. Then Daniel answered with counsel and prudence to Arioch, the captain of the royal guard, who was gone forth to kill the wise men of Babylon, saying, Chief magistrate of the king, wherefore has this peremptory command proceeded from the king? So Arioch made known the matter to Daniel. And Daniel entreated the king to give him time, and that he might thus declare to the king the interpretation of it. So Daniel went into his house and made known the matter to Ananias and Mishael and Azarias, his friends. And they sought mercies from the God in heaven, and said, May the name of God be blessed from everlasting to everlasting, for wisdom and understanding are his. And he changes times and seasons. He appoints kings and removes them, giving wisdom to the wise and prudence to them that have understanding. He reveals deep and secret matters, knowing what is in darkness, and the light is with him. I give thanks to thee and praise thee, O God of my fathers, for thou hast given me wisdom and power, and hast made known to me the things which we asked of thee, and thou hast made known to me the king's vision. And Daniel came to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon, and said unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon, but bring me before the king, and I will declare the interpretation to the king. Then Arioch in haste brought Daniel before the king, and said unto him, I have found a man of the children of the captivity of Judea, who will declare the interpretation to the king. And the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Balthasar, Canst thou declare to me the dream which I saw and the interpretation thereof? And Daniel answered before the king, and said, The mystery which the king asks the explanation of is not in the power of the wise men, magicians, enchanters, or soothsayers to declare before the king. But there is a God in heaven revealing mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what things must come to pass in the last days. Thy dream and the visions in thy head upon thy bed are as follows. O king, thy thoughts upon thy bed arose as to what must come to pass hereafter. And he that reveals mysteries has made known to thee what must come to pass. Moreover, this mystery has not been revealed to me by reason of wisdom which is in me by all others living, but for the sake of making known the interpretation to the king, that mightest know the thoughts of thine heart. Thou, O king, sawest and behold an image. That image was great, and the appearance of it excellent, standing before thy face, and the form of it was terrible. It was an image, the head of which was fine gold, its hands and breasts and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of brass, its legs of iron, its feet part of iron and part of earthenware. Thou sawest until a stone was cut out of a mountain without hands. And it smote the image upon its feet of iron and earthenware, and utterly reduced them to powder. Then for all the earthenware, the iron, the brass, the silver, the gold, were ground to powder, and became as chaff in the summer threshing floor. And the violence of the wind carried them away, and no place was found for them. And the stone which had smitten the image became a great mountain, and filled all the earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, to whom God of heaven has given a powerful and strong and honorable kingdom. In every place where the children of men dwell. And he has given into thine hand the wild beast of the field, and the birds of the sky, and the fish of the sea. And he has made thee Lord of all, thou art the head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom, inferior to thee, and a third kingdom which is the brass, which shall have dominion over all the earth, and a fourth kingdom which shall be strong as iron. As iron beats to powder and subdues all things, so shall it beat to powder and subdue. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of earthenware and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, yet there shall be in it the strength of iron. As thou sawest the iron mixed with earthenware, and whereas the toes and the feet were part of iron and part of earthenware, part of the kingdom shall be strong, and part of it shall be broken. Whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with earthenware, they shall be mingled with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave together, as the iron does not mix itself with earthenware. And in the days of those kings the God of heaven shall set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And his kingdom shall not be left for another people, but it shall beat to pieces and grind to powder all other kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Whereas thou sawest that stone was cut from a mountain without hands, and it beat to pieces the earthenware, the iron, the brass, the silver, the gold, the great God has made known to the king what must happen hereafter. And the dream is true, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and gave orders to offer him gifts and incense. And the king answered and said to Daniel, Of a truth your God is a God of gods, and Lord of kings, who reveals mysteries, for thou hast been able to reveal this mystery. And the king promoted Daniel, and gave him great and abundant gifts, and set him over the whole province of Babylon. And Daniel asked of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel was in the king's palace.